Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. Raining out at Burning Man. So I know many people have seen the story about the climate anti-capitalist activists that have they blocked the road to Burning Man, in which an official then later drove his truck through the barricade and arrested them. I thought it was pretty cool. They had the line backed up for miles. But now there's a story that came across my news feed about there was heavy rainfall. I think before, apparently there was an earthquake around the area, then followed by heavy rainfall, which has left everyone basically waiting through mud. Not able to drive any. No one can drive. No one, save for emergency vehicles, are able to drive around the area. Bicycles are basically hopeless. There was in the article when they're included in the description box, it said that it took people like an hour and a half to walk 8 blocks. 8-block distance, so it's pretty telling about the amount of basically amount of mud and water you'd have to go through. And there's also been an emergency notice about anyone who's attending Burning Man to conserve their food, water, and fuel, because it seems like there really isn't going to be many delivery trucks that can actually make it to the spot. So whatever you have there with you is what you're going to have. And part of the article, there was a statement made that Burning Man is based about pure self-reliance, and it said that we're now going to be put to the test. So I think it's interesting that I've heard of Burning Man before. I always thought it was just one big hippie festival, but I guess in the sense it is in the sense a big self-reliance festival, because if you're going to be out in the desert with multiple people, do you have the things that you need to sustain yourselves? And one of the things that going back to the prepping conversations, mud has never really been a topic that's been brought up. I know when people talk about heavy rainfall, there's always a concern about flooding, but then there's a question of mud. Like, what do you do when mud is basically what you have to work with? And I've been stuck in the mud a few times. The truck has been stuck. I remember the first time I've been stuck. This was like maybe around the first year I had the truck, and I was driving to Manning, and I pulled over to the side of the road because I thought I saw something. I thought I was going to hit a deer, so I pulled off the side of the road. But then I pulled off where it was grassy area, and I couldn't get the truck out. Well, at least I couldn't get the truck out in the way I was driving. I later realized that the benefits of 4-wheel drive and having a granny gear, I was able to utilize those features that the truck has. I was able to get myself crawl out of the mud. Another time happened when I was actually going to a gun show, and there was it rained, wasn't a lot of parking, so I drove all the way towards the back where there would be more space for parking. Well, the truck's very front heavy, and as I started to drive into the mud, I started driving into what I thought was dirt, started sinking into the mud. Well, I didn't have to put the truck in 4-wheel drive, but I decided I'm not going to go any further. Put it in reverse. I was able to easily back out. Another time at a place I used to work, there was a lot of wet clay in the parking lot. I don't know what it is about modern parking lots, but they're far too narrow for full-size trucks. And cause I'm in the parking lot right now where it's okay, but the parking lot at my old job, one of my old jobs, the parking was terrible, and the only place where you could actually park your vehicle, especially if you had a truck, was off the parking lot site where there was clay. Well, whenever we had heavy rainfall, the clay got real soft, and if you didn't have 4-wheel drive, you were screwed. But thankfully, I was able to put the truck in low gear, and I was able to I didn't get stuck. I was able to crawl through the clay and get my truck out onto a pavement, the paved parking lot. But someone else's truck, they get stuck. So I had to actually use my 4-wheel drive to get his truck out, get his truck unstuck. So it's things like that where you don't really notice how useful something like 4-wheel drive or mud boots. I do keep a pair of in fact I keep a pair underneath this pair of these underneath the seat. Actually, I found these. I found them outside years ago, and they had they were being thrown out, and they actually have steel toes. I keep a pair of those in my truck in case, you know, I'm ever stuck outside where there's a lot of, you know, there was previous heavy rainfall, and then I'd be, you know, treading in mud. I wear boots already, but I think they have something that can actually that's more waterproof and, you know, runs up close to my knee. I think that's great for that kind of environment. And it seems like that's what kind of thing that people are going to be dealing with over in Burning Man. You know, being able to have to tread through mud. Do you have enough water? Can you capture, if you don't have enough water, can you capture rainwater to use for drinking water? You know, use for bathing, things like that. And food, you know, how much, you know, do you have any dry food? Do you have any way of preparing any food you may come across? Let's say you do. Let's say you stumble across a crow or something like that. Who knows? You know, when you're hungry, there's no telling what you're willing to eat. But, you know, if you come across a wild animal that you're able to kill, can you prepare it if you're able to out there in that kind of environment, basically out in the desert? You know, do you have enough fuel for your vehicle? I know in my truck I keep at least 3 to 5 gallon cans of diesel, and right now I got a small can of gasoline. The welder's not in the back of the truck right now. I got a skid project that I'm working on for it. But I typically keep gasoline in the truck as well, not just for obviously I can use it for the truck, but any equipment I maybe have with me in the truck, or to help someone else who may have just run out of gas on the side of the road. So I think it's always interesting to hear stories like that, where you may have to hunker in place, and then you have to really start, you know, check on your stocks. Like, what do I have available? You know, what do I have on hand that can be used until things, you know, get back to normal. But yeah, I just wanted to share this, you know, share these tips, just share some stuff that I've experienced, and also share this article. Which, again, I'll include the link in the description box to check it out. I think it'd be useful. It's useful information to consider, you know, because I still like to keep up to date on things concerning preparedness. I may not do as many videos as I used to, but it's still something I like to keep on, you know, stay on top of. And if I see anything that's, you know, strikingly, you know, out of ordinary, or any, you know, weird stories, I'll see if I can do a video about it. But please share your thoughts. Leave a comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. If you have you ever had to deal with, you know, mud or you know, wet clay, sand, things like that? I love to hear your stories. If you want to help out with the channel, go to my YouTube homepage. Look for the PayPal link and the Cash App link. All donation amounts are appreciated. Any gripes, complaints about this video, send me a PM. I'll see what I can do to address them. But that's my video. Rained out at Burning Man. I'm Edward Jones. You guys take care, be safe, stay strapped, and God bless.